Hey guys, what's going on? Here's going to be the video that I'm going to do instead of the normal Sunday sessions we do for Queen Ansurek. Figured I could do this all, put this in chapters so everyone can follow along. The main video we're going to be referencing, which will be in the description, will be the Echoes video right here. They killed it post-nerf, so to be more accurate representation for everyone involved. Also, Lucky's video here has a really good visuals in terms of showing you all the weak cores, and we'll go through that one step at a time. So be ready. There is the raid assignments tab as well that will have everything broken down for you in terms of if you have questions about when you're interrupting and stuff like that. And then we'll just have the regular raid plans that we follow along as well. All right. So let's get started. We'll start with P1 that we know, I'll say the majority of right now. There will be 3 marks. This triangle mark will technically not exist. And the other 3 will. The way this mechanic works is pretty simple, and we've kind of been doing this time. So you'll notice I've changed a little bit of the numbers. This first liquefy that does come out here, we do not need to be in the green at all based on this. So they stack tight, they get a wind rush, we'll do the same, we'll rotate. And then boom, this comes out. So basing on their video here, they had no one stand in the green on this one. So we're going to just avoid doing that. We're just going to have, again, 2 rows in front like this and people loosely spread. You'll notice as well, they're not giga min-maxing their positioning here. Like these range are overlapped nicely, but you'll notice there's a little bit of a gap here and there's a little bit of a gap here and there's room here. So that's okay. We want to do our position as close as possible, so these will be reference points that we will use and take into account for you to have a general positioning for yourself, but it is not the end-all be-all in terms of the overlaps, all right? So we will go ahead and drop. We also have 1 mage who will stand out here and blink, and I believe the warlock drops on the gate, so you cannot stand on the gate, just as a heads up, as it will drop poop there, okay? Then it's a rotate. So this whole rotational phase here, it's very simple in terms of how these circles are dropped and how they are popped. So the circles really never have to overlap. They will always go 1, 2, and 3 eventually like this. And this positioning is perfect in terms of how they will lay out, if that makes sense. They don't need to overlap severely at all, but doing it like this is perfectly fine, and that will continue the whole way around the circle, all right? So they drop. This weak core here, this counting down, so this portion will tell you which circle you should be in. This marker is relevant because I will not be marking them, although this would technically be the second mark. And this is technically when the pop. So this pop would right now on the weak core, if you're in the first group, would be 3.1. This is to avoid overlap. So the first one should always, you can always pop. Again, you'll learn the timings on your own because you don't want to double stack, right? But the first one will pop right there. You'll notice they're 0.2 seconds late, and we just can't pop until this don't pop goes away, and then we pop, okay? Very, very simple. The main thing is where they go after this. You'll notice that in this video, they have 1 person go to this corner, which we will also continue to do. And this evoker can kind of go anywhere. He can go in front, he can go in the middle of the room. So whoever this first pop is, I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. Just make sure that you're able to move that around. The reason for this is we have to be planted to not get hit by waves, so you have to know where they're going to be coming from, right? Not get hit. This is very important, and we're all going to bait these swirlies right in this little cubby here. We didn't do a so great job here, but we will do that again, and you'll notice the tank walks into the poop to get the boss as deep as possible, turn around, we're all stacking right in front, and we will rotate. I believe this is shown as well in the P1 logs right here. Boom, web blades, toxins, those are normal. Yeah, we're baiting right in the cubby, and then we will get ready for the second root set. This root set, there are people in the poop, right? You have Glue, Beef, and DJ. And this is all fine as long as you guys have your own breaks, which you do because DJ, you have freedom. And so we can do that as well. So if you're able to take a few to drop your poop in the poop, it is perfectly okay to do so. You'll see an evoker doing it here. That is perfectly fine. We just need to utilize space. Don't overthink it. If you can cheat for it closer to help your friends, that's always beneficial. Don't have everyone in the poop. That would be bad. But that's sort of how we play it. The main part of this next rotation, this is mainly for our tanks, this is so we can hold everyone accountable, is we're going to be over-rotating this boss a little bit. So you notice we're going to pull an entire, I'm going to call this a pie slice, even though it's not a pie at all, across, and the boss will be way, way, way out here. So we are way, there's a huge gap. We're almost on the gold line, but we're not quite at the gold line. and the green circles will come out. So we bait these blades. The reason we're out here is to bait these blades. As soon as these blades come out, we're then working our way back to drop the green puddles along our white puddles. Very, very simple. So they have 3, 1 will go in the corner, 1 will go up outside, boom, just like this, right? So they're not overlapping. They're leaving good space between them for timings. Boss will get tanked naturally a little bit closer to the first one, which is great. This is perfect positioning all around. They will pop, they will wait, they will pop, they will wait, they will pop. In terms of spreading, it's the same thing. If you pop the inside, you're always the most far out. In the middle, you're in the middle. Outside, you're on the outside. Okay, very simple. They're dodging waves. And we have a bait swirlies here. So this bait swirly is a little bit different. You notice they're moving the boss a little bit farther away. They're moving it to this gold line over here. Maybe a little bit before that. Not right to the gold line. So the main thing here for swirlies, range, and there is some melee up here. Melee must keep up time here. But range, you'll just bait along here on this back. And it's actually very, very clear on the raid plan. This is 11. So the boss will end up being, and it's kind of hidden here, but he's under here, this web, and we're going to bait anywhere on the side. So melee, if you can prioritize being on the edge here, it's going to be very beneficial. If you can't, you can't. We had a nice L here, 1 in the middle of the room, which doesn't matter as much because this is person outside baiting. 2 here, which aren't great, right? These are kind of poopy baits. The reason this happened, though, is because there's a big fucking... I believe a big circle under the boss there. Or maybe she baits her own big circle. She does. So that's a fine puddle. This one's kind of wonky, but it's not the end of the world. The next main thing is roots. So we're a whole pie slice over now, and we're prepping for this root again. This root is the same, I believe, as the last root before it. Bang, right? We'll have the same people in the poop. People standing out around. This isn't accurate for where you will be, Silver. Obviously, you'll be in with the group. Probably place yourself around here. I'll update the plan to show that for you. But same thing, just tight, loose spread. If you can bait in the poop, you can. If not, it's not a big deal. This guy baits himself in the poop, and it's super free, right? The main thing where we need to land, right, where we have to be for the last set of toxins is right here on the marks opposite of where we started. So as long as we're ending on these marks, it does not matter how much space we conserve on the other side of the map. We cannot go past these marks for these toxins, so that is very important. But we will do these toxins on these marks every time. So we, in theory, have 50% of the room to use. All right. And as long as we do that, it's fine. So that's why I'm saying don't necessarily overmanage your stuff too much, because there's one less set of roots. It's a little bit easier to manage. Boss gets pulled a little bit ahead of the marks. Toxins will come out. They'll drop. They'll pop. And now, just so we are aware, this is what it shows like when it's your turn to pop. So it'll show your mark, your number, same as normal. The marker is actually here this time, which is great. They're a little bit closer together, not a big deal. The timer to pop, and it will say you are popping. So this is how you know it's your turn. If you are a popper, you will go stand in the mark. You will pop. And be good. And then they're going to spread 1, 2, 3. These don't actually drop anything. They don't do any damage. And now we're into intermission. So this intermission part is, in terms of health points and how scared you are, going to be the scariest part of the fight most likely, mainly because we're spread the entirety of the time. We're going to use the other half of the room for our movement. You'll notice there's green puddles spawned around here. And the question is, like, where am I standing? What am I doing, right? There's now the Intermission Raidplan, which is right here, that we've made, that will go over that, okay? So we've loosely put some... So you guys can have an idea of where to stand of your class specs here. So you can get an idea. I'm like in the smack map beside Mulk, right? In front of Boogie, somewhere around here. But if I ended up like back here, it's not the end of the world, right? You just don't want to get pulled to the middle. You don't want to overlap and cleave yourself. But you know some people do, right? And they're not hard positioned. Just don't get pulled and don't die, right? Or pulled into the middle and don't die, excuse me. Right. So when you get pulled, you will drop poop. This will be consistent for the entirety of the fight. So you will get pulled and then you will rotate, right? This poop is forever growing. It's kind of a nuisance. And then you'll notice they're split into little groups. The reason they're split into these groups, especially in melee, more so than range can be a little bit more spread, is because when the waves come through, right, you're going to have to stack, right? Which means you're going to be cleaving each other. So to manage that, we have set up little groups here. Boop. That makes sense. So we split the melee into two groups here. Bang, bang. Two different range groups for the most part, although range can sort of spread around here. Again, these aren't hard requirements in terms of we have to be in these groups at all times. It's just to reduce the amount of clean damage and how scary it is, right? You will only get 2 pull mechanics in this, right? So you get one more pull mechanic right here. Bang. So this pull mechanic will again line up like this. These are people who don't get pulled, I believe, or something. There's a reason they're over here. Use personals whenever you can to reduce damage and move out to create space for final push. Very, very simple stuff. Don't get pulled. So you'll see people standing over here, probably Blade Storm and stuff, right? That's why they don't get pulled. You'll notice Lucky's actually standing in a little bit of poop here to conserve space. This web stuff doesn't seem all that scary. Like he is ticking, right? But not something, not like 20% a tick by any means. So just min-maxing our space here, right? That Evoker kind of dropped in a little bit of a bad spot. He moved a little early, but just make sure you don't get pulled into wave is all that matters. Now it's the burn phase. We do our original split again and we burn. We have to beat this next pull. If we don't beat this next pull, it'll just be the fight over. We can just beat it. It's not a big deal. Okay. Now we're going into intermission, into P2, excuse me. That was intermission. So on the last side of intermission, we've set it up as far side, close side, because we would start here and work our way over, right? So this is how we will split. Obviously there'll be movement here, and you will just get to your side. These are very loose, right, in terms of kicks and interrupts, and there will be interrupts set up for these ads. So these ads will be marked. These ads are marked by me and Zesty, I think. Moon and Circle. I will mark one, Zesty will mark the other, and then we'll talk about platform P3. Just get your kicks. It's very simple, and then you get ready to get it. Literally same as Heroic. New mechanic for this phase are these portals. Okay, this is very, very important. This is really all you're learning in P2. Outside of just don't die and be an idiot, right? And kicks. So we still bait is this portal right here. Okay, so the way that WeakAura works is you'll see this timer right here on the person's screen, and this is red, which I believe has some indication that you're running out of time. But this timer is really all you care about. So we've set it up a rotation for people to go across. 2 people will go over right before we cross. It'll be Zool and Cheese. We'll swap sides. And then you drop poop when you swap sides. Okay. So you'll notice the timer. We start intermission right here. Ad's going to spawn. Boop. And then our debuffs are, so this is timer. This is not debuff related. This is literally WeakAura related. It's very important we follow it. So this means you have 10 seconds to go through the portal, come out the other side before everybody dies. Very simple. 2 people have to go through. It'll be 2 healers. 3. So that, see how Awoken's name disappeared? That means he went through. When you come through, you get a debuff. And with your debuff, when you are dispelled, you will drop poop. Okay? Very simple. He walks to the side. He gets dispelled. He drops poop. Then these ads will die. You'll notice once you go through is when it starts. And the next one starts at an interval after you come through. So you'll notice Awoken came through first, right? And the Plague second, but then the Mage one started first. And now they're off sync, right? Which is fine. Boom, right? So there's 2 more. Now, 12 and 11 seconds, you'll notice that's at 24%, right? They share health. So this will die much before this ever goes off. If you're ever transitioning to a new platform, this timer resets. So it'll count down here. These ads will die. They will not go through, and they will be ready to rotate for the boop. So that timer disappeared, but those 2 names will reappear when we rotate here. Here they are again. Here's the new portal, right? It will actually tell you as well when you are next and which side of the portal you'll go on. I'll show you that at the end, but it will do that. So look for platform 3 if you have questions around there. But same thing, there's a DK and a Mage. I believe this is SD and Brandon's, and then the DK comes through. He's assigned to walk right. Boop, he gets dispelled. You can also dwarf this. He will go in and hit the boss. Same with the Mage on the other side. All right, so that's the entirety of this phase. Now, this one's a little bit interesting because you'll notice These guys, so these two went through, and there's two. Is it here? Ninja and ZT, right? So this is a Ellie Shaman and a Rep Halley. These two do swap, but they swap before this pull comes out. And because this guy comes through from another platform, he does not have the pull mechanic, so he's able to come through for free. He walks to the opposite side. It would have told him to walk left, and then he will get pulled, and he will eventually get dispelled. And this will start the timer again. So we do this one a little bit earlier. Keep that in mind. And you'll notice these will die. There's a countdown starting. We pop the bridge. As soon as the bridge is popped, this is sort of same as heroic. No more pull mechanics happens, and therefore these do not matter. They will reset. New platform, new timers. Boom, right? We're blasting this ad. There is a chance that an ad spawns on your side that will have a cast. If it does, there is interrupt set up for that cast. Do not miss your kick, okay? Same as every other boss. It will fucking horn at you and shit. Do not miss. This mechanic is just the healer mechanic, right? Same as it was on heroic. When you dispel, it does a big burst of damage and drops poop. So the healers will drop this in a good spot. Bring the ads with the tank and do the mechanic, okay? Now we're just doing damage. That's the healer one. And this is the guy who came through on the other side. He was told to walk left. He will bring close, and there'll be one more after this. No one will come through probably here. Boop. They will come through now. Bang. Dispel. Bridge. Run. All right, super dispel. So it's all managing that. It's all managing these timers. So you'll see it, what it looks. We'll go over what it looks like in a sec on this screen. There's kicks here. The two people marking these ads will be Zork and Karm. Whichever side Karm's on will be cross. Whichever side Zork's on will be square. Right, and we follow the interrupt order there. So if it appears on your screen to interrupt, make sure you do so. Boom. This is what it's going to look like. You'll see it says gate and then right. That means when this guy goes through the gate and he appears on the other side, he would rock to the right. Because when you come through the gate, you'll be looking as if you came through the portal, right, towards the middle of the room. So he would walk to the right side of it. We'll show you how this looks. So his name is Lucky. So it's Lucky and the other Og next. 5, 4, 3, boom, boom. Walk right. Now, this ad died. Right? So he still has the debuff, and this debuff still happens. But as long as your group is healthy, it's kind of irrelevant. So they dispelled, they took some damage, right? But they were topped enough to where they were fine. It's much more important to get the knock, right? He doesn't have a choice. Or you're going to drop this in P3, and that would be bad too. So that's just life. As long as we're full health, it'll be fine. So now we're going into P3. So P3 is a very rinse-repeat fight. You learn the first part, and then you learn the entire thing. I'll do my best to put marks now, and we'll go over it. So the marks will be the same every pull. I believe she does drop down the same every pull. That does not change. So we will be stacking exactly like this. All the marks around are marks for ads, okay? And this, there's one X mark and one skull mark, okay? And one sec, let me turn my notifications off. Boom. There we go. So there's two marks. So there'll be an X mark and a skull mark. These, the X and skull mark, are for the portal drops. Now these will move around the room as we move, but they are always in the same spot. So X will always be in the middle of two marks. Skull will always be on the outside by a pillar, and we'll show you what that looks like. Okay. So there's also a P3 one here. Boss spawns, gets moved towards the far pillar, just like so. The range are baiting for and the green circles. Tank is baiting here. Boss is moving a little bit this way to be beside. And then these are the portal marks, right? So this is very accurate. We will bait swirlies. We will have infest. So we will put a Ursul's on top of this infest. Bang. And then ranger baiting their poop. So the melee poop is kind of important here. We have to be consistent with this. Melees does get poop on them. You will bait it right outside the circle. You will stay as a group together. You will bait it all together. Boom. And then you will switch and absolutely nuke these ads. Okay. Goal is to kill these ads. Warrior hopefully carries us, and we're good. Now the ads are spawning. So the way these ads work is there is 3 on this one and then 4 on everyone after this. So the way it works is you'll notice there's a shield. So they spawn at 50% health and there's a shield. Once they cannot be kicked until the shield is broken. But what I've done is I set up interrupts for each ad. At least the 3 that have marks. 1 will not have a mark. We'll go over that later. But our goal is to break the shield and then kick. Okay. You'll notice that all 3 of these casts. Oh no, only 2 got off because they broke this one in time, which is great, right? So I have a first kick set up on all these. If you're a first kick and yours doesn't get broken, like Moon, right? If it doesn't get broken, you won't be able to get your kick, and that's life, but the next kick will be able to be gotten. So we will nuke these. Range kills, triangle skull, melee kill, skull, triangle mark, and pink mark, sorry, and melee kill, condom, and pink mark. That's it. When they dry, they drop this thing called an essence. This is the P3 mechanic. So what this is this essence, when you pick it up, will do heavy dot damage to yourself. And the only way it is removed is by going through the portal, okay? Or when the ring mechanic comes and pulls you through. Certain classes, demon hunters can double jump. Warriors can leap it. Monks can TP it. And mages can blink it. You can still drop your thing afterwards, okay? So portals will be on the marks, nice and simple. There'll be a countdown. There'll be 3 people to go here. The order for this that we've set up so far is Link, Mulg, and DJ go first, okay? So Mulg will get this one. Link and DJ can split between these ones. Like so. Portal, they'll pick up now. One of them picked up over here. And they will gate. Oh, Warlocks can also TP. Forgot to say that. He's just, the reason I forgot it is he's on this side. So he TPs back so they don't take any damage. Everyone else who portals will spread. We get the big circle mechanic. So I've made circles here. This is where you will stand, roughly, right? So you'll end here and we're spreading here. We will have movement for every one of these, so make sure you get to your spot. You don't drop anything, just reduce damage taken. Perfect, right? And now we're going back to blasting the boss. Don't get by these blue orbs, okay? So these spawn. Now, you're going to, after you've taken the portal and you've had one of the little guys that you've picked up, you then redrop them on the ground for someone new to pick up. Our main thing is to drop these together. So this first set will be behind orange a little bit, just loosely spread, nothing precise. Just don't drop them pixel stack on top of each other and don't drop them in the middle, please. We then rinse and repeat. We bait on this firewall, melee baits on the side, add spawn beside, we switch and nuke. And we're really just repeating, right? Same exact thing. Dodging lines, new ads. New ads and shackles. So shackles are the same as heroic, but you'll notice these ads are spawning. There's still only 3 marks, skull, moon, and triangle. This is a blank mark, so there is no mark for this ad. That is fine. We will just kill it and have natty interrupts on it, right? Because we won't be using all our interrupts on these ads. But let us see here what they do. So these shackles, this first set of shackles goes ahead of the boss, okay? It will go to the blue marker. So that means you will Venn diagram them on blue. This guy doesn't make it because he's an ape, right? But they should all 3 be over here. The way these 2 stack it are perfect. The third would be right on the gate, and that would be great. And then you would just switch and nuke it. Let's check casts real quick. First cast is going out. I'm not sure how many went out there, if I'm honest. Maybe some got kicked, maybe some didn't. But you'll notice they didn't die. So if you can get your kick, get your kick. That's really how that works, okay? Some obviously go off on the first one because they're shielded, but we are just nuking these ads, right? Nuke, 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 nuke. We nuke these 2, right? And then the melee are going to rotate over and get these last few. Kill shackles, nuke everything down together. Right, big heals from our healers. We're doing great. Now we've dropped them all, okay? The boss ended up on the farthest ad. You'll notice right after this, we're going to come a way bit back to the new mark of X. X has been moved in between these marks. Therefore, skull is on the corner of this pillar. We will rotate back. And there is a ton of ads, right? There's 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, and a 4th over here. And then the 3 we had before. So that should be a total of 7 pickups. So the 7 pickups for this are Beef, Frilly, Walks, Zesty, Shiro, Zedubal, and Zork. Beef and Frilly, you'll obviously take the 2 when you bring the boss over here. One of you will take this one, one of you will take this one. It's very simple for you to do. Zesty, Shiro, Zadooble, and Zadooble, right? We'll probably take 1, 2, 3. We'll have to have a melee come and take one off the boss, and then Zork can take the last one. Probably Walks come back. Whichever one has more movement between Walks and Zork, you guys can chat amongst yourselves. I don't care. We just pick tanky classes for this. If you can blink over, you will do so. If you cannot blink over, you will not. So you grab these right before the port just because you do end up taking damage. So he picked one up here, right? Very good to see. He's got a debuff. It lasts for 10 seconds. He will gate. He will... Oh, no, he does not gate. He Wormstones this. You can definitely do that, Shiro, if you have that possibility. If not, you'll just take the gate and spread. But he Wormstones to the Warlock. Boop. Right? So then you don't have this debuff going on, and he's able to spread. You will drop these again. I believe we drop them now near blue. Yep. So the whole point of this fight is you're beating the next go through. So now these are dead parts of the fight. We will rinse and repeat and do that phase again. Boss is at 11%. This is what we're looking at. Hopefully we have more alive. We bait swirlies. You know, we'll bait in the far back corner. This is a bad bait by Lucky, but it's life. We will nuke these ads as fast as we can. Make sure the boss doesn't eat it, right? So they moved it a little bit. That is fine. And this is where it gets a little wonky. So there's one more set of shackles coming out in 4 seconds. You'll notice that this puddle is causing them to think, and they're like, what mark are we going to go to? We don't know. This mark will be, these shackles will go to moon. Nice and near the boss. Make a nice triangle. Nuke them, right? We can pull the boss a little bit off and then put these right behind the boss. This is great. Nuke these. These casts going off, these ads are, the boss is not 5% health, right? We should be on this or ahead of this. They have a lot of people dead, which therefore means a lot of kicks, right? So they're just, you're AoE nuking these shackles, right? And this ad, right? Because of Skull. You will continue to AoE. This ad dies. These 2 ads are still not kickable, right? Because they still have shields. We will kill these shackles. We'll move they don't even move the boss. They actually kill the 2 in the middle, and these 2 have shields. Now they are hard committing here to not killing these ads. So they are pulsing heavy damage. So 2 alive is doable, does about 50%. Any more than that is probably no bueno. And they are just racing the boss. Okay. So this will be yes. We can't get the next portal mechanic because we're not picking any of these up, so we would die, but we have to beat this. Right? So they had 5, 8, 9, 10, literally 50% of the raiders dead, and they were able to get it dead from, so they had 4 going into, so at 11%, they had 3 dead, and then they start casting, they lost a 4th, etc., etc. All right, so this is our timer to beat. If we don't beat this, it is, but this is a fight that we can definitely do really well on. So this is 100% a prep fight, I believe, in my opinion. So if you have questions for anything going in or when your kick is or anything, let me know. I can add specific videos if I feel it's needed. Kick priority is here. I already talked about the mark priority. That's good. Do not miss a kick. Just be ready to kick or cover kicks if you need. Make sure your brakes are ready and all that. Don't forget about setting up your defensive usage. I think this is a very scripted fight for the most part, especially in P1. So you should have your rotating defensive either on your Ks, on your liquid reminders, or on something else. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to answer. But I'll link 3 things. So I'll link all 3 raid plans. I'll have this video linked in the description, and I'll also put the log to their kill in case you have questions on what people are running or why they're doing what they were. Okay? So come in prepped. We can have an amazing night on this on Monday. And if we have an amazing night on Monday, you know, who knows what happens. Maybe this is killable for us on Wednesday. This is normally a 200 to 150 pull boss. But since the nerf that was drastically reduced and P3 took a big hit in terms of difficulty. And so because of that, once we're done P1 and we get the rotation down to P2 in terms of going through portals, which in my opinion doesn't sound all that bad, we are in kill range probably the 3rd time we see P3, right? So watch this. Get accustomed, get your personals ready and your DRs and your health stones and your health pots, and doing all that will get us there. All right, guys, if you have questions, let me know. Hopefully this couple days will give you time to plan this and going forward. And then, yeah, just let me know if you have questions. All right, enjoy your weekend.